Shalom. Call Halayim La Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And a sincere Shalom to the 144,001 Now, this is some breaking news. The U.S. has reinstated the draft as a pre-measure from the ages 18 to 26, where it used to be you had to go out on your own as soon as you turn 18. I think that you can do it at 17 to register for essentially the draft, right? Now they have put in place to automatically register, which hasn't been a thing in over 50 years, something like that, around 50 plus years since this been a thing. The House of so I'm gonna dive into this article. All right, and this no coincidence after Russia pulled up on the U.S. with the nuclear subs that they're doing this. All right, the war is inevitable, and what's crazy is that these other countries are literally telling their citizens that this is World War III and to prepare, and the U.S. is not saying a word, but just doing little bullshit like this because this is unlawful, man. All right, you can't force. It's not lawful to force somebody to go to war. There's accounts of this in the scriptures. Let me see if I can find some. I remember reading it. I believe it was in Chronicles. Let me see. Give me a moment. It'll come back to me, man. Where the Most High was saying that it was going through to see if they could find men who wanted to go to war, and then the men who didn't want to go to war for whatever reason just went about their lives, man. It wasn't no fucking bullshit lottery to force random people to fight for the Israelites, man. To force Israel to fight. That's fucking madness. While it hasn't been invoked in over half a century, it's mandatory for all male U.S. citizens to register for the Selective Service, also known as a military draft, when they turn 18. Failure to register is classified as a felony and comes with a host of legal challenges. While there isn't currently a draft in place, Congress and the President can reinstate the draft and force male citizens to serve in the military. Keep in mind it says force male citizens to serve in the military. You see, trying to force somebody to fight to the death is essentially what they're going into, man. And this is not gonna work out, all right? Because this is World War III we're talking about. This is anyone who's in the U.S. military is gonna be fine against Yahweh Shai. All right, the elect is not gonna be in the fucking military, man, during this World War III. All right, because if you're in the U.S. military in World War III, that means you're against Yahweh Shai. While there isn't, and more than likely you're going to take the MOTB too. While there isn't currently a draft in place, Congress and the President can reinstate the draft and force male citizens to serve in the military in the event of a national emergency or war that all volunteer military can't adequately support. The military draft, officially known as the Selective Service System, requires nearly all male U.S. citizens and male migrants ages 18 to 25, I think it's 26 now, to register with the government in accordance with federal law. Now, what has happened is that instead of the males 18 to 26, they automatically are all now registered. You don't have to go out, so to speak, and do it now. Now it says, are women eligible? Salakia, hold on. Are women eligible to register for the draft? The law currently requires that only men register with Selective Service. In the event that the law is changed to include registering women, Selective Service prepared to expand registration, the website reads. So I've seen that they're talking about adding women, and that's fucking madness, and they're more than likely gonna do it too, because Esau's a fucking devil. And I went to the website and it said all males, even going into the alphabet lifestyle, the ones that were born male. So you see Esau, this is going to backfire in your face. You see Gen Z is not with this, man. Gen Z is Gen Z is not trying to go to war. You see all this talk I've seen online, these Gen Zers talking about this, saying they ain't down for it, man. They ain't down to be cannon fodder, to die in these wars. Cause they say US sending money to all these countries and the citizens ain't getting shit, and it's true, right? You're not helping out your own citizens, and then you're gonna force them to go die. Let's get some scriptures on this, because everything that's happening is prophetic. This is all written. Let's go to Jeremiah. It's Jeremiah 51st chapter and verse 30. And it reads, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. So even the soldiers in the military are going to reach a state where they're not going to be down for it anymore. All right? Because that's the spirit the Most High has put upon this place. What if you don't register? I mean, it's everybody's registered now, but after they pass this, if you don't register, it is considered a federal felony, punishable by a fine up to $250,000 or a prison term of up to 5 years, or a combination of both if you fail to register with Selective Service. A felony conviction means you lose your right to vote and the right to own, possess, and use a firearm, among other things. If implemented, how would the draft work? According to the Selective Service, the draft, if implemented, would have similarities to that of the Vietnam War. That means the Selective Service would most likely hold a draft lottery based on dates of birth. Number 1 would correspond to January 1, 15 to January 15. Officials would draw numbers similar to drawing numbers for a lottery. If your birthday is the first one drawn, you are the first to be drafted. According to the Selective Service, if a draft were held today, those who are 20 years older or turning 20 during the year in which the numbers are drawn will be the first to go. Beginning January 1st of the year, an eligible male turns 21, he would drop into the second priority category. And men born the following year will move into the priority group 1 each succeeding year. If you are drafted, will you automatically go to combat? And you see, if a hopeful elect gets called for this in the coming days, not days, but who knows, right? Could be days. In the following moons, right? That's just a test, man, because we're not gonna be no fucking military, man. That's literally Satan's military. That's the devil's army. It's important to note that even though someone is registered and their number is called, They may not be inducted automatically into the military. They may be eligible for a deferment. Categories might include married persons or college students. You may also be excluded for medical or psychological reasons. May declare yourself to be whatever that is, objector, or may even be able to enlist a specific branch or career field to avoid combat duty. Yeah, these Gen Z dudes is not for with this shit, man. They ain't going. This ain't gonna fly, especially with the society, feminism, and all this madness that Esau has pushed. These motherfuckers is not with it, man, at all. Let's go to Second Esdras, because don't get it wrong, all these countries are gonna have things similar to this, and yes, some men will be in this draft, like they're gonna willingly go, or whatever the case is, right? They may be coerced to go, and this is their fate right here. Let's go to Second Esdras, the 16th, Second Esdras, the 16th chapter. And especially, this is going to be even more madness if they do women. And it's possible. I'm not going to say they are or they aren't. I've seen talks of it, right? I've seen talks of them saying that they could do it for women. Who knows if they are or they aren't? I can't say, right? But this is Second Esdras 16th chapter in verse 33. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So what's going to go down? This is what's going to go down. You're going to have in the whole entire earth, right? Not just Babylon. You're going to have these drafts, and all these men are going to be cannon fodder. They're going to be cannon fodder for this World War III and all these other wars that's going to pop off. And they're just going to be put to death. And there's going to be a lot of women in these countries as the men get shipped off. And there's already, mainly here in the U.S., it's more women than men already. So if there's a draft and a certain amount go in the reserves and all that go too, I think it's 52% women, if I'm not mistaken, 48% men. It could very well get to 62% women, 38% men, right? Isaiah 4:1. And that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. That's specifically talking about the elect, but that's just what came to my mind. So this is what the Most High has in place. And these men going off to war, that's their judgment. All right? And, of course, these women are going to get judged, too, in these cities. Right? Because that's where women dwell, in these cities. They're going to get judged, too. There's no escape to the wrath of the Heavenly Father. And it said what? Famine. Right? What I just read, it said famine. Husbands will die in famine. Well, guess what? What do women do in famine? They fucking eat their kids, man. And then they starve to death or commit suicide. You know, I was talking to this one chick. I think she stayed in Santa Monica, right? And I asked her, like, what would you do in, like, you know, an apocalyptic, without rule of law situation? She said she would get her sister's gun and blow her fucking brains out. Because she said that she doesn't want to get gang raped. So these women understand that once 911 is not available, that they're going to become booty, right? And booty just means a resource taken, right? A taken resource. They know they're going to be up for grabs. All right? She said she will fucking commit suicide, man. And I asked her, like, what? I was like, what are you going to do if you can't shoot yourself, right? She said she's going to climb up a really tall building and jump off head first, right? So her head hits the ground first. Instant death on impact. I'm like, yeah, and I believe wholeheartedly she was not joking. I don't think she was kidding, man. I think she was being serious. All right. So this is all that's going down. This is not, and the crazy part is there's no talks. There's no talks. This wasn't really on mainstream news, from my understanding. And there's Sleepy Joe, the king of Babylon, or anybody else that has a high rank in Babylon is talking about prepare for war. There's no talks about preparing for war, and you got Russian nuclear subs flexing on the East Coast. You see, this place is done. And that's it for this video. I don't want to rot this off. Edifying. Shalom.